All right, let's get right into it. If you're an MYP educator, you'll want to listen up because some pretty big changes are coming down the pike for curriculum design. The IB is rolling out a major initiative to enhance the middle years program, and we're going to break down exactly what that means for you, your planning, and your classroom.
Just imagine for a second. What if your unit planning felt less like you were just checking boxes and more like a genuinely creative process? What if you had more freedom, more agency to build really meaningful learning experiences without being stuck in some kind of rigid formula? Well, that's the big question that's driving this whole evolution of the MYP.
And look, this isn't just happening out of the blue. The IB has heard the feedback loud and clear. For a while now, educators like you have been talking about the real struggle of trying to make a school's curriculum fit perfectly into the MYP unit planner. Sometimes it can feel like the planner itself gets in the way of the actual pedagogy. So these enhancements, they're the IB's direct answer to that. At the heart of this whole shift is this really powerful philosophy from Seymour Papert. Our job isn't just to hand out knowledge, it's to create the conditions for invention and discovery. That's the big idea here, to empower you to be a true architect of learning in your own classroom.
So what's this whole thing called? It's the Enhancing the MYP Beta Initiative. And it's really built on two main pillars that, well, they might sound like they contradict each other at first, but they're actually deeply connected. It's all about giving teachers more flexibility in their planning while somehow creating more coherence across the entire curriculum.
The goal here is actually pretty simple, but it's also profound. It's about making the MYP framework a better tool for you. It's about getting away from that feeling of being constrained by the planner and moving towards using the framework as a natural support for designing amazing learning experiences without losing any of that core MYP pedagogy.
And when you look at the core aims, the vision gets really clear. This isn't just about shuffling a few boxes around on a template. Nope, this is a fundamental shift. It's about boosting teacher agency and putting a fresh focus on what the MYP already does so well, sparking inquiry, building deep conceptual understanding, and making those absolutely critical connections to the real world.
Okay, so how does this big vision actually play out in the real world? Well, it all boils down to two of the biggest shifts in this initiative, and they center on two of the absolute cornerstones of MYP planning: concepts and contexts.
First up, let's talk about this statement of inquiry. Right now, as you know, it's pretty formulaic, right? Well, the new enhanced approach scraps that. It's being replaced with a much more flexible inquiry statement or an inquiry question. There are way fewer rules, and this is a big one, the global context is no longer a required piece of the statement itself. This just frees you up to frame the purpose of your unit in a way that feels a lot more authentic.
The second huge shift is all about concepts. You know that old, rigid distinction between key concepts and related concepts? Yeah, that's gone. Instead, each subject group now gets a single, much more flexible list of specified concepts. This means you have so much more freedom to pick the concepts that really truly fit your unit, and you can even add your own to reflect your school's unique context. And what's happening with contexts? Well, global contexts are being reframed to directly answer the one question every student asks: why do I have to learn this? It's all about using them as a powerful tool to show relevance and purpose right from the very beginning of a unit.
To help with this, the new guidance gives us three contextual lenses to use. You can think of them like zoom levels, right? You can connect the learning to the student's individual life, zoom out a bit to their local community, or zoom all the way out to the wider global stage. It's a fantastic framework for making learning personal and for exploring all kinds of different perspectives.
Okay, so the philosophy is great, the changes sound exciting, but how does this actually work? Let's get into the practical side of things for any schools who are thinking about trialing this new guidance.
And here's what's really cool. You get to choose. During this beta trial, your school can totally stick with the unit planner you're already using, or you can take this as an opportunity to design a brand new template from the ground up, one that truly works for your school.
To make it super clear what's required, the IB has put out this handy guidance table. They basically split everything into two columns: the must-haves, the absolute essentials, and the might includes, which are optional elements you can add to make your planner even richer.
So let's quickly run through those musts. Any planner in a pilot school has to document these 5 key things. First, the unit's concept, or concepts. Second, that new flexible inquiry statement or question. Third, you've got to show how conceptual learning is going to happen. Fourth, select one global context for the unit. And finally, describe how ATL skills are going to be taught or practiced.
Now, hang on. Before we go any further, there is a really important warning here. Specifically for schools whose students take the MYP assessments. This next part is absolutely critical.
The official recommendation from the IB could not be clearer. They strongly advise that schools trialing this new guidance do not use it with students who are going to sit for e-assessments. The big concern is that these changes could mess with their understanding of concepts and context during the exam. So the official advice is to wait until the final enhancements are published, which is currently planned for 2027.
So, with that very important warning in mind, let's zoom back out. What does this all really add up to? What do these changes actually mean for the future of how you design your curriculum? When you look at the big picture, this whole initiative is about a fundamental shift in our mindset. It's an invitation to move unit planning away from being just another compliance task, another box to tick, and toward what it really should be. A professional, creative process where we design truly meaningful learning for our students.
And as you start thinking about all this, and maybe talking it over with your teams, the IB has a really powerful question for you all to reflect on.
This question really gets to the heart of everything. In an ideal world, what would be the best curriculum design process for your teachers to follow? See, these enhancements aren't just a new set of rules. They're an opportunity, an invitation to answer that question for yourselves and to start building that ideal process at your own school.
So if you're ready to learn more, your next stop should be the Enhancing the MYP beta website. You could also find a ton of FAQs and other info on the Program Resource Center. This is really your chance to get involved and help shape what the future of the MYP looks like.